Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. I bought this really old piano and it's got these funny little lights on it. They're supposed to be for candles, but somebody modified them to put electric lights in, but I don't like the shades on it, so I'm going to make some little chandeliers for them. I'm using old coat hangers to make the holder for the light, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just undo them. To undo them, all I'm doing is twisting the wires around each other to get it apart. I've just straightened the coat hanger out, and now I'm going to take a little bottle. You can use whatever size you want, but just make sure that it's big enough so that it can go around your globe. So I'm just taking that and we're going to wrap it around the little bottle twice. Sorry, it's a bit difficult for me to show you because the wires are so long. So I've got it twisted round twice, and now on the one side, doesn't matter which side you choose, you're going to be flipping this one the opposite direction. So just holding it like that, you're going to just bend that one like that. And then we're going to just open the rings so they look like this. And the other wire now we're going to bend over. So this one, we're going to do the same loop, but coming in this direction. So just bend this one. So it's like that. So now this portion here will just fit over the globe. And now we're going to just shape the top to as big as what we want to make the light fitting. I'm just marking the center ring in by 4 centimeters, and the same on the other side. And then where we've marked on the 4 centimeter mark, we're going to be holding the pair of pliers on this side of the marking, and we're going to bend it at pretty much a 90-degree angle going outward. And do the same on the other side. So your piece should look like that. And now you're going to bend this part around to make a half circle so that it can connect to the other side here. And then the same this side, so that eventually we land up with a circle on the top. So your piece should look like that. So we've got this, a bit difficult to see, so we've got a half circle this side, and we've got a half circle this side. So we've got a little circle on the top like that. And now we're just going to trim the wires down and then shape them so that they go around this side here and this side here. You want to trim them so they're about 2 centimeters long from where you're going to be attaching it. I've trimmed the wires and I've shaped it to go around like that, and then we're going to start wiring this one together. You can see it makes the little half circle. To wire them together, I'm going to be using this 26 gauge, and it's just a jewellery wire. It's very, very fine, and all we're going to do is cut off about 15 centimeters, and then I'm holding it at the one side. So we're going to be attaching these ones together. So just keep a little tail and then wind it through and around. Just bear in mind this wire is very, very thin, so you can't pull it very tight, but just keep winding it around until you've closed the whole thing like that. I've just pulled the end wire, which was our tail that we were holding on to. I just pulled it through this wire so that it's encased. So now I can finish off closing this. I've got the one side wired closed, and now do the same on the other side. I'm using these 2cm rhinestones, so I'm going to be cutting a small piece of cardboard, which will be about 2.5 centimeters, which is going to go around the outside of the circle like that. I'm making 2 of these, so if you see me doing double, it's because I've got the 2, but I'm only showing you how to make 1. I'm just using an old wine casket box, and as you can see, the grain is running in that direction, which is what you want. Don't go in the opposite direction, because then it makes it a little bit difficult to bend. And now I'm just going to cut my little pieces out. I've got my pieces cut out, and now I'm just taking a large marker and I'm just turning them like that so that I can get it to bend nicely. That's why I say it's easier if you've got the bend in it. So just bend until you've got enough to go around. On the inside of the piece of cardboard that we're going to be using, I'm just flattening it out onto some aluminium foil, and I want the shiny side facing forward, and I'm just going to be gluing that on. I'm going to just use some hot glue to glue that on so that we've got a nice silver side facing inward. When you're gluing the aluminium foil, use something else to press it down with, because it's really hot through the foil. And then just fold the piece that you've cut off around the back. And now we can glue this piece onto the light fitting like that. And just hold it in place until it dries. I'm just using a thin piece of cardboard to secure the center piece like that. Because these lamps sit directly on top of the hot globe, chances of the glue melting are very good. So I've taken a thread and I've just folded it over 4 times, and I'm using a circular needle, and I'm just going to sew the little metal piece onto the cardboard. I find a circular needle works really well for this. So all I'm doing is going over the top and then pushing it back through the other side. I'm not doing very small stitching, I'm just going to do quite large stitching so that it will just secure it, just as long as I encase the wire at the back like that. And then just go around the whole thing like that. I've sewed all the way around, so now if the glue does melt, the light is not going to fall off. And now we're ready to decorate it. I've got a roll of these chandelier garlands, and what I'm going to do is cut 30 strips out, and each one of the strips will be 14 little beads. I've cut one out at 14, and I'm using that as my template, and I'm just placing it next to them and then cutting. And then all you have to do is cut as many as you need for the size that you have made. I'm guessing mine's going to be about 30, so I'm cutting 30 little strips. I've got all the beads cut, and now we can start gluing them on. I'm going to be gluing them so that I've got 2 beads on the top piece like that, and I'm gluing 1 bead on with hot glue, and I'm going to be using my T8000 glue to glue the second bead on. this because I think I might have a problem with the heat from this light and I don't want all the beads to fall off. I'm just putting them onto a piece of sticky tape so that I can check the distance between them. Before I glue them all on, I'm going to be taping them so that I can get the right distance so that there's not one small gap or one large gap throughout the light. I've taped them all on and I'm quite happy with the placement of them, so now I can glue them all on. The gaps are all the same. I'm leaving them attached to the tape and all I'm doing is gluing them on. So as I said, I'm gluing the first one on with hot glue and the second one underneath here will be glued on with the T8000. Try and make sure that you are lining up the little piece of string that runs through the center, that you're lying it straight so that it hangs a bit better, because these little beads tend to dangle quite strangely. And then just glue all the beads on. So I've got them all glued on with the hot glue, and now I'm going to use the T8000 to glue the second bead on. I'm just making sure that you've got your string going straight, like that. And then glue all of them on. I've glued them all on, and now I'm going to leave those overnight to dry. I've cut a strip of cardboard, which is very, very fine cardboard. I've just used old chocolate boxes, and I'm using this self-adhesive book cover, and this is like a metallic one, and I'm just going to be covering this small piece with the book wrap. I've got my piece of book wrap cut out, and I've left 1 centimetre, so I've got a nice turnover on the one side, and I've left 2 centimetres or 1 row of the, like that, just one of those rows for the turnover on the top. And now we're just going to stick that down. So the easiest way to pull your paper apart is to take some sticky tape and put it as close to the edge as you can on the one side, and then turn it over, and without touching the sticky tape, also as close to the edge as you can, just put it there, and then just pull your paper apart. And now we can stick it down. All you have to do is just hold it in place and pull the paper and lie it flat. Now I'm going to be cutting this piece of paper again to seal this part up, because we're not using that at the moment. So just cut that off. And now we can stick this one down. So our piece of cardboard looks like that. And now we can glue our piece to the top of the chandelier. I'm going to be starting at the back because I want the join in the back, and these particular pieces here are the ones that go over the side of the globe. So this would be my back and the front. When you're gluing it on, keep this piece at the top over here like this, so that we can wrap that around when we finish gluing. And now we can just wrap this round over the top. Don't forget to take the wee piece that we left on it off before you flip it over. And just go all the way around. I've got these rather exquisite, they're called bling clusters, and I'm going to be using one of these large ones, and I'm going to be placing that in the front of the chandelier. They are self-adhesive, but I'm going to use the T8000 to secure it, but I'm just going to be placing it on there. They've got like little pads on them, so I'm just going to be placing that right in the center. I've got some bling ribbon as well, and I'm going to be cutting just one row. So I'm cutting 4 rows into, well, 2 rows. So one will go at the top. So I'm just going to cut those out and then we can glue them on. When you glue your bling ribbon to the book covering, make sure that you're gluing onto the bling and not onto the book covering, because the book covering will melt. So we're going to just glue that on. So I've only put glue on 3 of them just to get it started, and now we can start placing it on. So once again, I've started at the back so that I've got a nice clean run in the front. I'm not gluing all of them down, so I'm only gluing in a few places. You can glue all of them down. And then just go all the way around. I've got it all glued on the top, and now on this top section I'm taking another 1 row of bling and I'm going to be gluing that on, just using the hot glue gun as well. I've got some gold bling which I'm going to be using as well. So what I've done is I've placed one of my pieces that I'm going to be using just to make sure that I've got enough place to glue my stones on. So I'm going to glue 4 rows all the way around the bottom. I've got these metallic studs which are also self-adhesive, but I will be gluing them, and I've just taken white thread like that, and then I'm taking my little thread and I'm just doing a loop knot like that, and then we're going to thread that over one of the beads. And just pull it tight. Put a little blob of glue at the bottom. So you've got one piece going behind and one piece going in front, and then just attaching them on that wee piece of glue. And we're going to take one of our little beads and place it however long you want to place it. I just want a little dangle on it, so I'm going to place it like that and put a blob of glue on there. And then close the beads together. Trim the other ones off. And then trim the thread off. So we've got a little dangle like that. And then just do all of them the same. I'm using this craft wire which is called coiled wire, and I've cut 2 pieces at 39 centimeters each. I'm using a small round nose pliers and put it right at the end without having anything sticking at the top, and then just rotate it. So you get a small little loop like that, and then we're just going to bend that round. Once again, when you get to the end, take your round nose pliers without anything showing on the top, just rotate that round. You can't go any further, just move the pliers and then rotate it a bit more. And now we can curve this one over too. I've got a shape that looks like that. And just do the same with the other one. I've got my pieces made, and these little pieces are going to be fitting on top of the chandelier like that. And I want something pretty in the middle, so what I've got are these rather beautiful acrylic roses, which I'm going to be gluing that piece like that, and then putting one of the roses on in the center. I'm just going to use hot glue to do that. So I've got the pieces glued together like that, and now I can glue my rose on the center. So like that. I'm using my 24 gauge jewellery wire, which is a very, very, very thin wire, and I'm just going to be wiring this together. So a little piece at the top there and a little piece at the bottom here. So just threading it through. I'm cutting off about 10 centimeters. And then we're just going to wind it around and through. I've secured this one, and now I'm going to work on the top one. Now I've got these rather cute little butterflies, which I'm going to be using as well. So I'm going to be placing one where the join is and one on top of the rose. I'm going to glue those on with hot glue as well. So now my top decoration is done, and that's going to go like that. And then we're just going to glue these ones down. I've got these rather attractive snowflake dangles, but they're very, very large, so I'm going to be just removing the little icicle at the end here, which I'm going to be using. So I've taken it off. And then I've also got these beautiful dangles, which I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to be placing one dangle on, so it hangs in the center of this one, and the little icicle will hang on the bottom like that. So I'm going to put both of them on, and then I'm going to glue the top piece onto the chandelier. I've got it in place how I want it, and now I'm just going to be gluing it down the side here to keep it secured. I'm using hot glue for that as well. I'm taking 2 extra little butterflies and I'm putting one on the loop just here and one on the top part just there. I'm doing it on both sides. The next thing I'm going to be putting on are these rhinestones, and this particular size is a 20 millimeter. And I'm going to, before I actually stick them on, I'm actually going to be measuring around to get the placement so that they fit nicely with even gaps around it. Now we can stick all our rhinestones around the side, and I'm alternating by going one on each side so that I can get them even to where the point is there. Over here. And I'm going to glue these on, even though they are self-adhesive, I'm still gluing them on, but I'm using E8000 to do that. As you can see, my light fittings are very, very loose and they don't stand upright. So I'm going to try and fix them so that they can stand upright. So I've got this little tube that I got from some tape, which I'm going to be just placing on top like that. But because it's a wee bit big, I'm going to be taking some popsicle sticks and placing them in the side in just 3 places so that it can hold it upright. I've cut all my little sticks to the size that I need. That'll go on the inside like that, and I'm going to be taping them down with insulation tape. And just do all of them the same. I'm extremely happy how the little pieces of cardboard are actually holding the lights upright. And now not that you'll see it, but I'm going to be taking some bling wrap and I'm going to be covering this whole little piece of cardboard. And I'm going to use hot glue and my T8000 glue. I've got the bling all glued on, and now we can just place them back on top of the chandelier. So there my little chandeliers are. My lights are extremely beautiful on the piano. Extremely happy with the way they turned out. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.